What are some lessons you learned the hard way as a kid or teenager? If you know a girl online and for 2 years she comes up with multiple excuses as to why her webcam and microphone won't work, and she has no phone, it's a dude. Or maybe it's a girl acting like a dude acting like a girl. Do not microwave hard-boiled eggs. My lip is still burnt. They get steam pockets and explode when you bit them. Your tongue will stick to a metal pole when it is -10 degrees outside. Using your teeth to rip duct tape may result in losing both front teeth. Baby teeth. Phew. Most adults know you're lying. It is only cute until the age 5 and even then is case by case. If you're in your neighbor's truck, don't turn the keys on and be surprised by the truck rolling backwards into busy traffic when you put the truck's shift into reverse. Snooping for gifts truly does ruin the excitement. No matter what your pals say, the homeless guy that lives in the abandoned pub is not a cool dude. I don't know, man. You shouldn't be so quick to judge. About 5 or so years ago, I always left my bedroom window open. My room was on the bottom floor when I left the house. Terrible memory. I kept forgetting to shut it and my stepmom told me constantly to shut it or we will get robbed. I promised over and over to remember to shut it and still ended up forgetting. So, one day I go out leaving the window open. Came home to find my Xbox was missing with the HDMI cable still in the back of the TV. I asked my bro and stepmom and they said they had no idea where it was. I come to the conclusion I've definitely been robbed. Absolutely crapping myself at this point. I went to the end of my garden and rang up my best mate to tell him what had happened. Then, I called the nearest cash converters near me to see if any had been sold there. People in my area are stupid and would sell something they recently stole in a store nearby. No luck. When I went back inside, praying that nothing else from the house had been stolen because of my foolish actions, my stepmom was standing there, Xbox on the table. She said I didn't want to do this, but maybe shocking it into you will make you learn. Window has stayed shut ever since. At least she actually returned it, unlike some others. Don't jack off with tan in a can. It leaves your dong looking like a Slim Jim. Just because an air freshener smells good and says non-toxic doesn't mean it tastes good. Same, except I drank paint, and then my tongue was blue and it tasted awful. I kept rinsing out my mouth after that and it just kept coming out blue for the longest time. So when I turned 17 and got my license, my parents gave me one of their cars as a present. I decided I wanted to wash it, so when I went to show off to my friends I would be rolling up in style. I got a bucket of water, some soap, and a sponge from my kitchen. I scrubbed every inch of that car for a good 3 hours. At first there were marks on the car which I figured were just soap lines or whatever. After a few hours I finally realized that the kitchen sponge has like metal in it, those yellow and green sponges, and I completely destroyed my car's paint job. Cost me $1,000. I am not a smart man. How to say no. I had a guy who liked me in high school, whom I didn't know very well. He constantly followed me around, gave me things that were precious to him, and forced a level of intimacy that I wasn't comfortable with. He was incredibly unstable and threatened to harm himself if I rejected his advances. He caused me a lot of stress for a few weeks and made me incredibly scared. I thought he was going to snap one day. No one ever told me it wasn't my responsibility, and that I could say no. A lot of people told me that it was my responsibility to let him down easy. I wouldn't wish that trapped, powerless feeling on anybody. I feel like this is something most kids should be told at some point in their life. Had a similar experience when I was younger as well because I was pretty bad at saying no. Sometimes your parents actually do know better than you, and even though you thought you were right at the time, in retrospect you were just in butthole. And sometimes parents are just straight up dumb, even if they tried their hardest and loved you a lot. This is a pretty crappy situation to come to terms with actually. You want to resent the stupidity, but damn it, they're your parents. If he's your boyfriend and he's being terrible to you, don't make exceptions for him. Leave. If you're going to shoot cow turds with a rifle, stand the frick back. That crap explodes when hit by a hollow point. I was on a paintball field and was walking back to the Safa zone with my buddy and thought it would be funny to shoot some manure. Rained crap down on us and smelled bad, but it was funny, so I am not mad. I remember one time at this party a girl had a handle of vodka to pass around this circle of people I was sitting in. Everyone else had different alcohol, so me and this girl took turns drinking some. We just drink, pass, drink, pass. We did this and I don't even know how much I drank. Probably some stupid amount cause I thought it would be cool to see how drunk I could get. My next memory is of me waking up sitting against the wall with puke all over me and the ground and a raging headache, and I felt awful for the next 2 days. I then learned that you actually have to be careful with liquor. It's like cologne. In theory a lot is a good idea. When you call out a gang of burly guys with chainsaws and axes stealing lumber from the place over the road, they'll come after you with axes and chainsaws. I had to jump 20 feet off a bridge to escape. One of the 3 times in my life when I genuinely thought I was a goner. If you're 9 and careless with information on the internet but are pretending to be a cool 16-year-old girl on the internet for a laugh with some friends, there will be an 18-year-old guy standing in front of your door asking for a girl named Megan. I've commented about this before, but once when I was 6 or 7 my mom's brother told me to pee on an electric fence. I learned 2 lessons that day. Don't pee on electric fences and never trust Uncle Tim. Don't whiz on the electric fence. Never propose your teacher. I was 14 years old and good at English, although I never felt marked out for preferential treatment. I clearly wasn't one of those boys who blossomed early. I was a bit chubby, too. Maybe my teacher singled me out because I was seen as somehow vulnerable, a child from a broken home. More unusual in the 2004 after few weeks I start getting problem in my left kidney. Then I was unable to take class. Then after some time, I was hardly able to make room for my studies. Then I went to school and request my teacher to please give me some extra time for the lessons I haven't yet studies. She was too polite and kind. She accepted my offer. She taught me for 2 weeks and in the meantime I start loving her. Also thought she must be liking me, so I was so confident. She was just 26 years old. She was gorgeous. Then after my exams, I met her in the school and my heartbeat was like 160. That moment for me was so confusing, but there was only last option for me. I finally decided to propose her, to tell her I love a lot. But the moment I proposed her, I saw her husband behind her. Then you can imagine what can be happens to me after that. I'd love to hear this story. You can't make everyone happy. Learned that very early in life. Next best thing is to make everyone moderately displeased. No favorites. Flammable and inflammable have the same meaning. First lesson was not to forget toilet paper when going on a day-long hiking trip in the woods. Second lesson was learn to identify poison ivy before picking out leaves to use as toilet paper in the woods. Leaves of 3. Make good TP. Just bought my first car yesterday, so let's see if it's a lesson learned the hard way. I bought a new truck on Monday. I hit a deer on Wednesday. If you are having a bad day, that does not give you permission to be an butthole to others. So some of my friends still need to figure this out. If you like a girl, man the frick up and say it. Don't type loud ass melodramatic messages about love and romance. Tell her you want her, and if she isn't having it, move right the frick on. The day I learned that being turned down isn't the end of the world was the day I became a man. Don't drink on the school bus. It's the only way I can put up with those dang kids. This was long before the Big Bang Theory, but acting like Sheldon is a really good way to get bullied in school, especially middle school. Acting like a girl crazy, somewhat stalkerish version of Sheldon is an even better way to make enemies. Don't fall in love with someone before you even date them. Shaving cream is worn for a reason. That your parents are just fricked up people trying to make sense out of their experiences like everyone else. I used to think there was like a majesticness to my parents, that they were immune to crappy life circumstances and unresolved internal issues. When I became an adult, whenever that happened, I realized that they are just like everyone else, not a superhero that they were to me as a kid. Don't have unprotected sex. Seriously, it's for everyone too, not just straight people. Gays definitely need to use it too. STDs, HIV, pregnancy, these are all very real, and they can happen to you. Protect yourself and your partner. Don't be silly. Wrap your willy. Baker's chocolate really tastes terrible. Yes, the car cigarette lighter does get hot after pushing it in for a second. How to manage credit. Coming from a family that never talked about finances and turning 19 and getting my first credit card. 5 years later I owed $40,000. Never missed a payment, but I'm getting really close to finally being free of that debt. When I have kids, I'll be discussing finances with them as teenagers for sure. Me too, except my parents urged me to get credit cards to build my credit. I only got up to 20k though. Was rough paying that off at 20 yo. They still suck at money too, but not me. Don't play with fricking gasoline, you stupid butthole. If you're going to sneak out of the house and use the car, put it in neutral first and then push it out of your driveway and into the road. Definitely don't turn the car on in the driveway. Turn on the lights by mistake, panic, and hit the car horn. Don't break up with a girl while playing mini golf. That adults are not to be trusted, especially those in the school system. One gem that stands out. You know how some teenage boys go through that phase where they're contemptuous of everything and alphaing all over the place? I'm allergic to peanuts, and one of my classmates told me he was gonna dip his dong in peanut butter and rape me. I told the teacher. Teacher told me he was flirting and he liked me. Don't work on the inside of a computer while it's on. Don't work under the hood of a car while it's running unless you really know what you're doing. For that matter, don't open the hood of your car if you have no idea what you're doing. Don't work on home electrical stuff without making absolutely sure the power is off and you flip the right switch at the breaker. Don't take expensive fragile technology to places where there can be liquid spilled on, someone trips on, or someone can easily steal it. Video games, cameras, laptop, etc. If you have the option of a microwave or oven toaster oven, the food leftovers are almost always better using an oven. Don't put any liquid in glass in the freezer thinking you'll grab it in an hour once it's ice cold and before it's frozen, because you'll most likely forget about it or come back too late. Don't buy a terrible MPG. Mine was 12 MPG. Car truck as your first vehicle. You will regret it when you need to travel far or can't go places because of the fuel cost involved. Launching off a ramp or ledge on a bicycle seems like a great and fun idea. It's usually a terrible idea every time. Any household pet can and will act, in defense, like a wild animal if pushed and bothered enough. Soda is not a replacement for water. You will become dehydrated and your mind and body will function terribly. If you have ungenuine interest in a hobby, start small and cheap. See if you enjoy it, then upgrade to more time and more money only if you fall in love with it. If you're working a job that you don't want to do, think about something you'd rather be doing at that same workplace or what a friend or family member is doing that you think you'd really like to do. Then find out through HR or your friend family how to get that kind of job. Don't throw out a computer just because it's getting slow and you think it's broken. Computer problems are almost always something minor and fixable, and usually software, not hardware. Just troubleshoot it yourself. Figure out where you spend the majority of your time at home and make that place as relaxing, comfortable, and calming as you can. Don't go to college until you know what you want to do with your life. A degree is not necessarily an automatic ticket to Job City these days, especially if it's not a STEM degree. Here's Bob Ross holding a baby raccoon to brighten your day. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe and comment. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.